it is true the trade is still scandalously stupid, but it becomes a scandal of an entirely different level if it
really don't make a difference if you say he or she.
Griner is a man. Well, come on now. This is another conspiracy situation, but you see this picture. No shirt. It's apparently an oath.
Welcome back to Fast Break WNBA. Fans of the league are aware of a significant issue following Matt Walsh's catastrophic allegations concerning the WNBA and Brittney Griner. The narrative has generated a great deal of discussion, including concerns about what was purportedly concealed, and why Sophie Cunningham's earlier remarks are now being reintroduced. The discussion: what is the true narrative behind the issue, though, and what are the genuine claims being made? We'll dissect everything you need to know and separate the claims from the facts. Now let's get right into today's video and dissect everything. The leading figures in sports commentary are dismantling the WNBA's disparate treatment of national television, and the league is at a major ideological crossroads, which has the senior staff in a panic.
You may expect, it's got a lot of people asking the same question. Is that really a she? Now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense that when she was in Russia, that they decided to put her in a men's prison.
The initial strong push by corporate media to advance political themes has completely failed, causing a heated public discussion that spreads from mainstream news programs to big podcast studios.
Brittney Griner now adding her voice to the debate over transgender athletes. She's a WNBA star, slamming the push to ban biological men from competing against biological women.
So when someone like Brittney Griner says, actually, I'm going to fight for men to play in women's sports, it's just another blow against lots of young female athletes.
Matt Walsh, the show's host, criticized the sports establishment, claiming that these groups have placed themselves in such an absurd situation that they can't even define what a woman is. The hard facts were conveyed by Matt Walsh.
The podcast, one of the things that made him wake up to this issue is that he's an MMA fighter.
Correct.
Biological males who are transitioning to female, beating the hell out of biological females in the ring. He started to think,
what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Like, why are we cheering this?
I assumed that was the case from the beginning. I assume it because I reflexively disbelieve everything this administration says. Also because a Griner or no one offer from Russia makes it easier on the White House. Russia would actually be doing the White House a favor by saying, we'll give you her or we'll give you nobody. It just makes it a simpler choice. But Russia's not interested in making things easier. It puts Biden in a more precarious and politically difficult situation to make him choose which American he wants. And so it just makes logical sense that Russia would prefer to put him in that situation. Especially because they likely knew that he would humiliate himself and his country by extension by choosing the lesbian basketball player over the Marine.
Demonstrating how biological reality is rooted on basic genetics, women have XX chromosomes, while XY for men, and warned that allowing biological men to play female sports completely undermines the fundamental protections that Title IX was intended to provide.
The WNBA have an onus of responsibility to be able to ensure that it's fair playership, though? I don't know if playership's a word.
For college sports and for the WNBA, too, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's ever okay for guys to be playing girl sports, but if this is true, then she was like the origin of this epidemic.
Running that jail in Russia. She was running.
Matt Walsh brought up the divisive political environment in the WNBA throughout the discussion, demonstrating the need for vocal, reasonable athletes like Sophie Cunningham to stand up for biological fact in the face of league tales that ignore basic science.
You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play.
The WNBA's Brittney Griner is a man.
That's not a woman. That's not a female. That's not even a trans person. That is a man.
Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man.
The hostility increased when WNBA veteran Brittney Griner publicly entered the national conversation. On video, Griner affirmed that everyone has the right to play women's sports and pledged to use her position to advocate for trans athletes and condemn ongoing efforts to stop biological guys from taking part.
It really don't make a difference if you say he or she to me. Like when I'm out in public, like my teammates sometimes will get mad if somebody call me a he, but I'm just like, I don't care. Like, you know, we go sit down and get some food and they're like, sir, what do you want? I'm like, yeah, let me get the steak, medium well. Thank you. I'm in TSA and I'm going through TSA and, you know, the guy pats me down so I could go through. I'm cool. I didn't have people come running like, no, it's a girl. I'm like, hey, you're making it awkward. Yeah. Like, I'm just trying to get through. Whoever could pat me down the fastest, I don't care. Yeah. I've had the opposite where someone was like, hey, you know, it's just against the rules. Like, he can't pat you down. Like, she has to pat you down. And then she walks up and she's looking at me. She goes looking at my chest, looking me up and down, looking at my chest, trying to look at the ID, making it awkward. Or they'll ask me, you really a girl? Nah, I'm lying.
Major news networks immediately denounced her comments. Douglas Murray, the author, publicly condemned. Gurrier's comments were a devastating blow to thousands of committed female athletes around the country, emphasizing that her perspective intentionally undermines young women competing for hard-earned roster spots, college scholarships, and equitable podiums.
Everyone deserves the right to play, so she's now weighed in on this. She's got a big voice.
I suppose it's sort of lucky that Brittney Griner's not just starting off, because if these are the rules when she was starting off, then the whole thing might be different. The problem we have in America on this is that there's a very distinct lack, actually, of women defending women in the public square on issues like this. And that isn't the case in every other country. And for instance, in my own country of origin, Britain, there have been very, very prominent women, not just in sports, but across the political and social platforms who have objected to precisely this.
Murray observed that years ago, after seeing biological men change and physically oppress, even Matt Walsh recognized the inherent danger of female competitors in combat sports. Grinder's comments were well received by extreme activist organizations, but female athletes have emerged to lead a fierce counter-protest. Prominent athletes such as two-time Olympian Sharon Davies and tennis player Martina Navratilova firmly disputed Grinder's tale, pointing out that around 14,000 female athletes have previously lost out on possibilities because to unfair biological competition and less favorable finishing positions. Navratilova emphasized that activists ought to honor the biological boundaries that stop trying to redefine feminism and protect women's places, but loud activists and league executives persist in promoting divisive ideologies that turn off the great majority of basketball fans despite this massive outcry from prominent sports figures and general fans.
Decided to stand up for women and female spaces. And that woman is now getting lambasted by other women because she doesn't support transgender people in female spaces. Sophie Cunningham, who many of you will probably know from this video, recently got herself in hot water because she had the audacity to say that women and girls should be protected.
WNBA star Sophie Cunningham, who plays guard for the Indiana Fever, when an ESPN feature quoted her opposition towards biological men competing in women's sports. She said she wanted to protect young girls both on court as well as in the locker room, calling her position kind of common sense. It has everything to do with reality.
This clash between corporate principles has put the WNBA leadership in a challenging position. As well as common sense, while courageous athletes like Sophie Cunningham risk public censure in order to uphold the regarding women's sports, people like Gurrier continue to propagate stories that provoke considerable public outrage. The gap between players that defend the league has revealed deep divisions inside the league. Truth and those who conceal themselves behind business rhetoric, but as the story in the media began to get out of hand, due to widespread online inquiries, Grinder's personal history unexpectedly came back into the spotlight and reappeared proof, resulting in an escalating problem that league executives are desperately trying to ignore.
It used to represent someone I respected as an athlete. Today it represents something I can't support anymore. Sports have the power to bring people together, but when someone uses their platform to demonize or marginalize an already vulnerable community, I have to decide where I stand. I'm burning my support. As a trans woman, I've spent years fighting just to exist authentically.
I will never understand how these people think this is some sort of a win for their side. Like, I am begging you people to be normal. Despite the monumental freakout, Cunningham didn't back down, which we love to see.
The WNBA front office has been compelled by viral discussions on major media platforms to strictly prohibit the harm when public scrutiny reaches a record high. An analysis crew on the popular commentary show Valuetainment analyzed internet rumors, resurrected media material, and released video clips regarding Gurrier's history, highlighting the total quiet from prominent sports networks regarding her captivity in Russia.
Griner, the WNBA's Brittney Griner, is in fact a man.
Brittney, let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you.
Damn.
Look at the chest.
Jab stepping, it's a brick. Cinemas.
It's very clearly Britney.
I ain't gonna fake it right now.
They called him/her by their name. And as you can clearly see here, his bare chest is completely exposed.
While private sports leagues are free to propagate any narratives they see fit, publicly financed sports and educational analysts emphasize that opportunities must rigorously respect biological fairness. The glaring disparities in the coverage of controversial league issues by traditional sports media, the panel explained that fundamental male athletes have an unquestionable advantage due to biological traits including lung capacity, bone density, and sheer muscle power. Physical advantage over female rivals, making biological restrictions in sports unavoidable. This explains why the WNBA was struggling for popular relevance and losing money. Unregulated media circus.
Cultural power. This is why the WNBA this is not going to go away. This issue is not going to go away. They're in such a bad position here. Caitlin Clark, they have cultural power. People love them. People are buying tickets that would never care about the WNBA. There's a reason why people call Sophie Cunningham MAGA Barbie, and people are starting to fill the arenas to watch her and Caitlin Clark. She's not apologizing for saying that there should be no men in this woman's sport. It's caused an absolute crisis, and people are losing their mind.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
These women spent $1,000 on tickets to attend the Indiana Fever versus Atlanta Dream game, specifically to see Sophie Cunningham.
The sport was drastically altered before the legendary Caitlin Clark joined the league decades ago. Throughout the night, she filled venues around the nation, smashed watching records, and gave women's basketball unprecedented commercial importance. Millions of ardent sports fans descended upon the stadium to observe Clark's exciting style of play, incredible shooting range, and pure passion for basketball, proving that onlookers select elite, high-level basketball over forced political theater, but activists and league management. Instead of completely maintaining the game, pundits frequently allow divisive cultural disagreements to take control. And respecting the historical significance of Clark.
Thing that he's doing where he's pretending that he's a woman is very smart.
It really don't make a difference if you say he or she to me.
Some psychopath can just pretend that they're a woman and knock women over on the court.
I gotta take this out. Norman's a fucking woman, dude. I bet.
It's a giant dude. A giant dude who's just dominating these chicks. So the more controversy there is, the more people do come to see them. The crazy thing about the WNBA, imagine if the NBA had the same sexual dynamic. Imagine if the most of the team was a bunch of gay dudes who were like very aggressive and black.
Even though the WNBA is currently receiving more public exposure than ever before, Joe Rogan noted during his program, league leadership runs the risk of prioritizing radical posturing over Clark's true fan base. Of completely wasting this wonderful opportunity. Most sports fans just want fair competition. And true physical brilliance are embodied by athletes such as Sophie Cunningham, who defend their coworkers and encourage biological common sense. Meanwhile, those who support eliminating biological limits, like Brittney Griner, are growing increasingly estranged from common Americans who value integrity in sports. This concludes today's Clark Update. What began as yet another argument surrounding the WNBA has now evolved into a much larger discussion over women's basketball's future. Fairness in sports, media coverage, and the appropriate course of action for professional leagues in contentious situations. Problems come to light. Commentators have expressed strong viewpoints throughout this article. Athletes and public personalities, Brittney Griner, Sophie Cunningham, Joe Rogan, Matt Walsh, Martina Navratilova, and other voices have all joined a larger conversation that is obviously not going away anytime soon. Beyond the personalities and contentious debates, however, one crucial query still needs to be answered. What should women's sports look like in the future? Should leagues prioritize the competition itself, preserving equity while keeping the athletes at the forefront of the discussion, or ought professional sports to do organizations actively participate in more general cultural and social discussions? Without a doubt, women's basketball has reached a pivotal point. The fame of athletes like Caitlin Clark has brought Tremendous attention to the WNBA, brought in new supporters, raised interest in games, and produced possibilities for the sport to attract even more viewers. This increases the significance of league leadership's decisions. More than before, conversations concerning inclusion, fairness, gender, and eligibility are also quite complex. Fans and players differ in their perspectives and experiences, and those opinions are worthy of being discussed openly as opposed to being confined to catchphrases. We would like to hear from you now. What are your thoughts on the arguments shown in the tale of today? Do you concur with the criticism aimed at the WNBA? What part should biological variations play? Participate in sports for women, and how do you feel about the various viewpoints that individuals like Sophie Cunningham have expressed? Brittney Griner, too, please share your opinions in the comments section below, and keep in mind that you don't have to concur with everyone to participate in the discussion. Be courteous during the conversation, express your viewpoint, and let us know what you believe the WNBA ought to do in the future. Please hit the like button if you like this video. To ensure you never miss another significant WNBA story, sign up for the Clark Update and enable notifications. A breakthrough or update from Caitlin Clark. Additionally, show this video to other basketball lovers who might be interested in participating in the conversation. Your contributions enable the channel to keep providing you with the most recent discussions and articles from around the realm of basketball for ladies. There is obviously a lot more to come, and this discussion will continue regardless of what comes next. Proceed. We appreciate you viewing Fast Break WNBA. Keep yourself informed and involved, and we'll see you in the next video, where the greatest WNBA tales are dissected.